41, we're going to install a portion of the front bumper. This is the unit right here, and there is a top to the unit that has a little beveled area here for the screws, and a bottom portion of the unit which has some reliefs and no bevels. Also, this is kind of bent down, so the top goes here and then it bends down. We're going to slip this into these two holes here. See if I can raise this up a little bit. These two holes right here on the side of the bulkhead, and then they're going to also set down onto the two posts that are on that front skid plate that we just installed. And then once that's on, we're going to use the little clips here, and we're going to clip it into place, hopefully. That is probably one of the tougher parts of the build as far as I'm concerned. So we're going to go ahead and slide this into and past. You can see how it's coming out past the little hole that it goes into. And then we're going to pop it down onto the two little posts right here. From there, we'll go ahead and put in the two screws. And then we're going to try to get the clips on. And I'm not sure whether we're going to do that on camera or off camera. I'll show you where they go. I'll show you a couple different possibilities on how to get them on there. But they're in a tight place, and they are extremely difficult to get over the little portion that they need to go over. But we'll try anyway. Okay. The clips, let's see if we can get a picture here up close. Need to slip over this little, we're going to use the little mini tool right here. And there's like a D-shaped portion here. We're going to use the other end, and we're going to put it over that little dealy boppy there and push it in like so. And then from there, see if I can do it one more time. Whoops. Actually, we're going to turn it like this. I'm going to go ahead and slide the tool down underneath. Give you a little bit of a close-up on how that is. Just like that. And then I turn this up on its edge and pushed it on. See if I can do it again. There we go. You can see that it clipped right on that time. Step number 42 is pretty easy. All we're doing is inserting nuts into these three chassis brace pieces. And each one of them has two nuts. They're each going to have one on the side and one on the top. One on the side, one on the top, one on the side, and one on the top. So that concludes step number 42. We have a lot going on in step number 43, so let's go ahead and spend a little bit of time, get our pieces and parts out, and we'll get started. A little bit tricky. I drug out the Team FastEddy work stand, and they are available at all your fine retailers. It sure makes it nice to work on your Baja, so that's what we'll be using. Let's go ahead and get started here. We got a lot of ground to cover. Let's get out the rear brace, and the rear brace is going to fit directly on the rear. You'll see that one portion of the chassis here is shorter than the other, and the bracket is going to sit on accordingly so that it lines up evenly with the back of the chassis. And you'll also see that the holes align. Now, let's take, excuse me, we have a long unit and a short unit that we built in the previous step. And what we're going to do is we're going to put the shorter unit on this side with the little cavity facing backwards, or the nut facing forward. And then we're going to put on the longer one with, how are we going to do that? We're going to put that on with the nut facing backward and the cavity facing forward. We're just going to set those on there for a second. Let's go ahead now and grab your roll cage center portion, and you're going to see that it bent and it cants backwards. You'll see that. We want this to face backwards towards the camera or away from the front of the car, and we're going to slip those into the little holes on the brackets and just let them sit up there for a second. Now we're going to grab, am I doing this properly? I think so. Now we are going to grab the side bracket, and we're working on the left side of the car, and we're going to slide this bracket through the center hole here on the bottom, or I'm sorry, the back hole. If we're holding it like this, there's a beveled one right next to it. We're going to go ahead and slide that over the little point on the roll cage, and it's going to slide over the little nub right here. Now we are going to take one of our beveled screws and secure that little portion onto the roll cage here. Kind of tricky to hold on to all this and trying to follow the directions, otherwise I'd be doing it a little bit different, and that's going to keep that on. Just trying to keep everything in perspective for you here. Now let's go ahead and work on the other side. We're going to take this brace, we're going to find the front which has the bevels, and we are going to put this on basically the same way, just like so. And the little nub is going to line up in there. And we're going to put a screw on. Okay. So I did all of that just so that you could get direction on how this is going to look. It's going to look like this. Now we are going to take one of our side brackets here and going to slip this up out of the way a little bit. And we're going to see that when we put this on the back two holes, that two of these line up. And in this instance, it's going to be these two here on the left side of the car. We're going to take our little inserts and slide them in the holes where the screws go through. They should stay in there. Now we're going to slip everything back into place here, and we're going to slide this over the little pin area. Whoop, dropped one of our little units out of there. And it does, believe me, it all lines up. I'm going to push that on. And we need to find our little dealie that we dropped and slide it back in. Actually, what we're going to do is we need to secure this now with two screws. So we're just going to actually put that one right on the screw. Takes about 4 hands to get this going. Make sure everything lines up. And we'll screw it in. We can go ahead and put our second screw in. It's going to go in the back hole. Then we're going to repeat that process on the second side. I'm going to go ahead and tilt this up. Now that this is somewhat on there, I'm going to go ahead and tilt this up so we can see what's going on here. Maybe. I'm going to go ahead and insert. I'm going to line this up. Push it over the pin. Slide it under the chassis. Slip in our 2 bushings. And screw it in. Well, that was a handful. There we go. One of the oddities here is you'll see is that one actually sits forward from the other, and they're the same piece. One goes on forward and one goes on backwards. So you'll catch that as you're putting it on. This is how it looks. Still got another bracket to put on before we're done. We will make sure we have all the screws going on. Now we're going to take the smallest of the 3 brackets, and this is going to go into the hole here. The screw, or the nut area, is going to go towards the back of the Baja, and we're going to drop it in to this hole right here. Just like so. And we are going to use the cap screw. Going to go ahead and just hand start that one so it lines up, and then we're going to put in the side screw here. Boy, you can tell it's getting late. Now we're going to go ahead and tighten up the bottom one. And we are done with step number 43. Show you up close. We attach the side pods holders, the rear brace, and the roll cage. It all ties in together into one piece. Here's the other side. So you can see how that all fits together. Ta-da! Starting to look like a Baja now. Alrighty, we're going to go ahead and lay out our parts for step number 44, and we'll get moving along.